Before he died, Peter Falk told about 7 actors who were really mean. Peter Falk was born Peter Michael Falk on September 16, 1927, in New York City, and grew up in Ossining, New York. Falk came into the world already dealing with tough stuff. When he was 3, a bad tumor meant doctors had to take out his right eye. For the rest of his life, he wore a fake glass eye, something he later used to his benefit, making it part of characters who seemed ordinary but showed deep feelings. This problem from when he was a kid became one of the first signs of the strong will that would shape his life and work. Growing up in a regular working family, with his mom working as a bookkeeper and his dad owning a small clothing store, Falk got interested early in telling stories and acting. But acting wasn't his first idea. After high school, he worked for a short time as a cook in the Merchant Marines during World War II, a job that taught him discipline and how to get along with all kinds of people. He then went to college, getting a degree in political science from the New School for Social Research, and later a master's degree in public administration at Syracuse University. For a while, Falk lived a normal life, working as a management analyst for the Connecticut State Budget Bureau, a safe job but not one that made him happy. It wasn't until he was in his late 20s that he decided to try acting, joining small theater groups and learning from famous teachers like Sanford Meisner and Eva Le Gallienne. His passion, skill, and strong presence on screen soon took him from local theaters to Broadway and then to Hollywood. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, Falk got a lot of notice for his strong, rough roles in dark films and crime stories. His parts in Murder, Inc. from 1960 and Pocketful of Miracles from 1961 got him back-to-back Academy Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor, making him a big name in the business. But it was in 1968 that Falk played the role that would make his career, change how detective shows were made on TV, and make millions love him for years, Lieutenant Columbo. With his messy beige raincoat, always having a cigar, awkward walk, and kind, almost sorry way of asking questions, Falk made Columbo a great example of quiet acting. His famous line, "Just one more thing," became one of the most known phrases on television. Falk's talent was in showing Columbo as a guy that bad guys always thought was not smart. Behind the easygoing look was a very smart mind, never giving up interest and great skill at understanding people. Falk made the character so real that it was hard to tell the actor from the role. He added his own ideas, made up lines on the spot, and personal details, turning Columbo into a real, lovable person. Over the years, Columbo became more than a detective show. It turned into something special in culture, loved for its smart stories and Falk's amazing acting. The show won him 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and made him one of the most loved actors on television. Besides Columbo, Falk kept playing many different roles, from funny movies like The In-Laws in 1979, where his calm, funny style was the heart of the laughs, to serious roles in smaller films and fancy classics like Wim Wenders's Wings of Desire in 1987, where he played a made-up, thoughtful version of himself. Peter Falk's first marriage started during a time when he was growing and full of big dreams, long before he became one of the most known and loved faces on television. He married Alice Mayo on April 17, 1960, a marriage that came from the strong bond they built as young students at Syracuse University. Back then, both were finding out who they were, improving their skills, and dreaming about futures that weren't clear yet. Their love grew in a place full of shared interest and creativity, and those first years together helped keep Falk steady as he started the unsure road to becoming a professional actor. Alice had a strong background in fine arts and psychology, giving Falk not just love, but also a helpful, smart partnership during a time in his life full of unrest and trying new things in art. During their marriage, the couple chose to adopt two daughters, Catherine and Jackie, making a family that brought happiness and depth to Falk's life, even as his job got busier. Their daughter, Catherine, later became known as a private investigator, something that often interested fans because of her dad's famous role as the clever detective in a trench coat, Lieutenant Columbo. Catherine's job choice sometimes seemed to match the feel of her dad's most famous character, adding a nice touch to the family's story. Jackie, their other daughter, also stayed a big part of Falk's life, adding to the warmth and steadiness he tried to keep even with the stress of a growing acting career. But, like many long marriages stressed by the hard demands of Hollywood, their marriage had more and more problems. Falk's growing fame, busy filming times, and the emotional strain of playing hard roles put more pressure on what used to be a strong base. By 1976, after 16 years together, the couple chose to end their marriage. The divorce ended an important part of Falk's life, one full of young growth, career rise, and starting a family. Just over a year later, Falk started a new part of his personal life when on December 7, 1977, he married actress Shira Dainese. Their relationship brought a very different feel from his first marriage. Shira was not only part of the entertainment world, but she also played a big role in Falk's work life. She became known to Columbo fans, appearing as a guest in more episodes than any other actress. Her many appearances on the show showed not just her skill, but also the good creative teamwork she and Falk had. Their marriage lasted for many years, getting through both public attention and the private health problems Falk had later in life. Dainese stayed by his side, and their long time together became a key part of his later years, full of loyalty, working together on art and lasting friendship. In the last years of his life, when getting older and sickness had started to soften the smart edges of his famous, clever Columbo character, Peter Falk sometimes talked openly about the people he had met during his long time in Hollywood. Though he never liked to start fights or put down coworkers just for fun, there were a few times, often in quiet talks or close chats, when he said that not everyone in the shiny world of movies and TV had the kindness or honesty that people like to think. In one talk that really stood out, Falk thought about a small but hard-to-forget group of actors whose actions left him upset, let down, or very disappointed. With his usual careful way, he chose his words wisely but clearly, naming 7 actors he thought had gone from being tough to truly hurtful. The first name Falk mentioned was George C. Scott, a man with huge talent but a hot temper. Falk remembered times on set where Scott's anger got really bad. "George had a fire in him that could burn right through you," Falk said, pointing out how Scott's angry outbursts could make whole crews nervous. Falk liked Scott's great skill, but thought the actor's anger went too far from normal strong feelings for art. Another actor Falk pointed out was Robert Mitchum. Though a big Hollywood star known for his cool, faraway style, Mitchum had a darker side that Falk said was as cold as a quiet street at 3:00 a.m. Falk had seen Mitchum make fun of younger actors, push away extras, and treat crew members with a lack of respect that bothered Falk a lot. There was something in his eyes sometimes, like kindness just wasn't part of him, Falk said softly. He also talked about Telly Savalas, an actor he both respected in work and had personal issues with. Falk remembered Savalas as a guy who could turn on charm like flipping a switch, but off-camera acted in ways Falk called controlling and mean. Telly loved power more than people, Falk said, and when a guy loves power too much, that's when he starts going into something bad. Another name that surprised a lot of people was Rod Steiger, whose strong acting, Falk said, sometimes turned into hurting feelings. Falk talked about seeing Steiger tear down coworkers with words, leaving them feeling bad for days. "Rod could be amazing," Falk said. "But being amazing doesn't mean it's okay to break people like their things." The fifth actor Falk named was James Coburn, usually known for his cool style and easy charm. Falk said Coburn acted nice one way but mean another, friendly and kind in front of people, but harsh and taking advantage of those he thought were lower than him. "Jim could smile at you while stabbing you in the back," Falk said. Two more names finished Falk's upsetting list. Anthony Quinn, whose big sense of self, Falk said, went into being mean, and Lawrence Harvey, whom he called very controlling. "Harvey had a way of making you feel like a piece in a game you didn't even know was happening," Falk said. "That kind of thinking, that's where real problems start." Though he didn't want to hurt anyone's memory, Falk believed in being honest, especially as he got closer to the end of his life. He stressed that most actors he knew were nice, hard-working, and respectful. But these 7 people, he admitted, left him with bad memories of too much pride, meanness, and hurting feelings. "People think evil always looks scary," Falk thought. "But in my job, sometimes it puts on makeup, goes under lights, and calls itself a star." In saying these rare words, Falk gave a look into the dark side of a business full of bright lights. One last honest truth from a man whose work was all about finding hidden reasons behind what people do. On the quiet evening of June 23, 2011, the world lost one of its most loved and unforgettable actors when Peter Falk passed away at his longtime home on Roxbury Drive in Beverly Hills. This was the same house where he had lived for many years, surrounded by family, friends, and the cozy things that were with him through the best of his career and into his older years. The house had become like a safe place, where he had hosted co-workers, read scripts, painted pictures for hours, and shared many times with people he cared about. His death at age 83 ended a time, closing the last part of a life that had made a huge mark on television, movies, and the hearts of millions. The main causes of death were pneumonia and problems from Alzheimer's disease, an illness he had fought quietly for several years. Alzheimer's had slowly taken away the quick humor and smart skills that made him special as both an actor and a person. For someone known for playing Lieutenant Columbo, a character based on super-sharp thinking and the amazing skill to connect tiny clues, the fight with forgetting things had a sad twist. Though he had stayed out of the public as the disease got worse, people close to him saw not just the hard parts but also the strength and kind heart that still showed even in his last years. Pneumonia, often very bad for older people, finally ended his long and amazing life. In the days after his death, his daughters Catherine and Jackie talked lovingly about the dad they loved. They said they would remember his smart advice and funny ways, words that showed the real him beyond the screen. To them, he wasn't just a famous actor, but someone who gave guidance, fun, and steady love. His advice often came as easy but deep lessons about life, said with his special mix of real feeling and playfulness. His humor, sometimes quiet and dry, sometimes really goofy, was always there, making even hard times lighter. What they said showed not just strong family love, but also the common traits that made people love him during his career. Peter Falk was buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, California, a calm and old resting place known as the final spot for many Hollywood stars. Set among nice lawns and shady paths, the cemetery gives a peaceful feel that matches the quiet respect with which Falk lived much of his private life. His grave has become a spot where fans still come, leaving flowers, notes written by hand, and little gifts of thanks. Honors to a man whose acting, especially as the messy detective with the famous raincoat and the line "just one more thing," still touch people of all ages. His burial there connects him forever to the city where he made his career, built lasting friendships, and became a loved part of American culture.